Before I begin today, I want to acknowledge that there's a lot of great videos out there on YouTube that share different methods to decrease eye strain. But the reason why I still wanted to make this video for you guys is not to simply share tips, but to go really in depth and explain exactly how the 3 things that I've learned from uni that I personally apply, and I know these tips work really well to reduce and to prevent eye strain. But by diving more into the mechanisms of each tip, I think you'll appreciate and get a full understanding of why optometrists tell their patients to do these things. Now that's all out of the way, let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Will and I'm an optometry student currently studying in Melbourne, Australia, and on this channel we look into how to improve our productivity and live more efficient lives. Now in Melbourne, we're currently in our 6th lockdown now, as you can probably tell by my really messy hair at the moment that I can't even maintain. At the moment, we're all working at home and staying in enclosed environments all day, and what that means is increase in screen time. And I'm sure many of you guys have begun feeling your eyes strain at some point. Now, preventing eye strain all boils down to something that optoms call maintaining good visual hygiene. And what that means is to avoid eye strain and maintain good and comfortable vision, we need to create the optimal and comfortable environment for our eyes. So now you may ask, how do you maintain good visual hygiene? Well, today I've got 3 super simple tips that are really easy to adopt and that you can start doing straight away. And these 3 tips are all about changing your own behavior as well as the environment to maintain good visual hygiene. So let's jump right into them. The first tip is to practice the 20-20-20 rule, first created by American optometrist Dr. Jeffrey Anshel in 1991. He came up with this rule because in the 1990s, Dr. Jeffrey Anshel realized that a certain subset of his patients, those who worked in corporate and worked extended hours on computers, were coming in with eye strain and headaches. So he came up with the 20-20-20 rule, and he found that those who actually listened and followed the 20-20-20 rule were getting decreased eye strain while they were working. And of course, as so many of us use screens today, this rule applies more than ever. So what the 20-20-20 rule says is that when we're looking at our screens, we should look away for 20 seconds every 20 minutes at something that is 20 feet away, or around 6 meters. Let's break down the rule itself and explain why it works and why it makes sense. The ways our eyes focus is exactly the same way as the autofocus on your iPhone. When your phone sees something up close, it processes this and changes the focus of the camera lens to make that close-up object come into focus. Just like the camera, our eyes also work with these eye muscles in your eyes called the ciliary body, which changes the focus of the lens in our eyeball, just like our iPhones. This will then make things close up come into focus and appear clear. And this process of seeing things up close clearly is called accommodation. The process of accommodation can be pretty taxing on these eye muscles when we stare at things up close all day, because when we're spending hours and hours contracting this ciliary body, and this is why we feel the eye strain as we continue looking at our screens, it's kind of like having to stand up at work all day without taking a break, which is pretty tough on our legs. So when you look at something that is 6 or more meters away, like a tree or a building out of your window, the ciliary body relaxes and you no longer need to work and contract the muscle to be able to see things clearly. So back to the standing up analogy, rather than having to stand up for 8 hours a day, now we get to sit down every 20 minutes or so and take a break, which gives our legs a bit more strength to continue and let us work throughout the day. This is why as we get older, we also require reading glasses, because the lens in our eye loses its ability to change focus as we age. So in essence, we lose our autofocus ability that our iPhone has, and we can't bring things near us into focus anymore. Now I love this rule because it's so easy to remember, and it's really easy to just put a reminder on your phone if you need to, and if you're forgetting to take these 20-second breaks. And it might be a little bit tedious to take a 20-second break every 20 minutes, but it just gives you an excuse to be able to say hi to the dog, clear my head and take a drink, which are also important things for your general health and for maintaining focus. No pun intended. Moving along, the second tip for today is maintaining what is known as the Harmon working distances. So in my last video, I spoke about how to set up appropriate working distances from your screens, which was to stay an arm's length away from your laptop with your fist closed, and for larger monitors, stay an arm's length away with your fingers extended. These distances are known as Harmon's distances. I also went way more in depth on how to set up an ergonomic workstation at home, so you can work or study comfortably and strain-free. So go check out that video by clicking on the tab above if you'd like to learn how to do that. The principles of these working distances come from American kinesiologist Dr. Harmon. And Dr. Harmon was a fellow who devoted his life to researching the growth processes in children, because when he was younger, he was involved in a near-fatal accident with a car that left him with severe head and neck injuries, as well as trunk and shoulder misalignment. What he discovered in his research was that not only was a child's posture imperative on their ability to perform visual tasks, but it was also a factor on how well they learnt and absorbed material. However, this appropriate distance changes as children get older and their bodies begin to grow larger and larger. And of course, it also differs between different individuals. So Dr. Harmon devised a clever system that allowed you to find your appropriate working distance, and that was to use your own body parts. And you use different body parts depending on what type of working distance you wanted. The Harmon working distance for reading books or looking at your phones and your tablet is found by forming a fist under our chin and then having your reading material held at your elbow. This distance is really where we should be reading to avoid crossing our eyes too much when reading, which leads to eye strain. Now I know I, for one, am completely guilty of holding my phone way too close to my face, and I'm doing this all the time whenever I'm just scrolling or looking at Instagram. And when I do realize, which funnily enough is normally when I start to get eye strain, that's when I try and hold my phone a little bit further away. Then for larger screens, like I said earlier, the Harmon working distance for laptops should be arm's length away with a fist formed, and for larger monitors, it should be arm's length away with your fingers extended. In developmental and pediatric optometry, we use Dr. Harmon's working distances all the time to teach children how to maintain good posture for their learning at school. But really, you can use Harmon's working distances at any age. By maintaining Harmon's working distances, you won't end up crossing your eyes as much as if you were sitting up closer, and your eyes won't need to over-focus and over-accommodate, so you can maintain that good visual hygiene. So not only will abiding to Harmon's working distances help to prevent or reduce eye strain, it's also really easy to apply and you can do it straight away. And you might also find that it helps with your learning along the way. Now you probably heard when you were younger from your mum to not read in the dark because it will give you bad eyesight, which is a myth by the way. But of course, in classic mum fashion, what mum didn't know about and was right about was that reading in the dark can cause serious eye strain. And that brings me to my third tip of the day, which is to use appropriate lighting. During the daytime, if you're working in a space that allows lots of natural light, this is usually adequate. However, if you don't have large windows and you have poor lighting, or if you're working at night, you will benefit from extra lighting. This lighting can be placed either in front of you from a lamp or a light bar, or it can be placed behind your screen, which is known as biased lighting, which pretty much means you light up the background around your screen, for example using LED lights stuck to the back of your monitor. Either way, both light forms achieve the same thing, which is to reduce the perceived brightness of your display by illuminating the area around your screen. Now I don't know about you guys, but mum always drilled into me to use a lamp while I'm studying, so it seems kind of obvious to me, but the reason why using a light actually does work is because it reduces the large contrast between your screen and your background. And this is really applicable when it's nighttime and the light in your room is just not cutting it. This contrast can feel really harsh and jarring on your eyes. When you introduce another light source, you're going to find that your reading is so much more comfortable because now your screen's going to be way less jarring because that contrast between your screen and your background has now decreased. So definitely consider getting a secondary light source aside from your room lights if you're working in a dim lit room or if you're working beyond daytime. Before you go purchasing your light source though, one final thing to consider is your lighting tone, whether it's bright, white light, or if it's dimmer and more warm light. Cold light produces white or bluish toned light that is really similar to the light we get in broad daylight. These lights create a sense of wakefulness, so generally they're better for reading and studying, and you'll usually want to use these lights during the daytime as supplementary lighting. On the other hand, warm lights use more red, orange and yellow tones, and usually it makes us feel more relaxed and therefore are less suited for productivity and more for winding down, and thus are better to use at night. Now there is a huge debate on whether these blue lights cause eye damage, eye strain, and also affect your sleep. I'm not going to delve into it into this video. However, I will say from a personal perspective, I find warmer and more yellow tones much more comfortable to use at nighttime. So I personally use warm lighting, change my monitor to a blue light filter mode that blocks out blue light, and use the night mode on my phone as it just feels more comfortable to me, and will definitely be touching on this controversial topic in the future. Now you may have noticed from my B-roll footage as well as my previous videos that I have this light bar on the top of my monitor, and this is the Xiao Mi Light Bar. And I use this piece of tech to control all my lighting requirements, and I absolutely love this thing. I have it on all day because even in daytime, it just makes looking at my screen way less jarring and straining. I can change the temperature of the light and the brightness to tune it to exactly what I need, no matter the time of the day and no matter what I'm doing. Now this product isn't sponsored in any way in this video, I just really love the product and I recommend it to anyone who wants a little bit more control over their lighting when they're working on their monitors. So I'll leave a link in the description below for you guys to check out. And that's a wrap for the 3 tips for today. I know this was a long video for only 3 tips, but I really wanted to get a bit more in depth and let you guys understand a bit more about how the eye works so that you guys can go work strain-free and comfortable in the long run. If you did like this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Thanks for sticking through it, guys. I hope you learned something valuable and stay safe during this lockdown, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.